We're coming to you live from the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Monday morning. Hope you had a wonderful summer weekend. Got a lot of posts on X over the last couple of days. Man, I tell you, when you open up your app and it says like 21 plus or 20 plus replies and I haven't even put anything out there. I'm like, wow, what is going on? Why am I getting so many replies? Oh, that's right. Giancarlo Stanton pulled a muscle. That's why. And I feel like this show and Giancarlo Stanton's muscle pulls are now synonymous with one another because we seem to predict every single one of these. Not that it's hard. You can predict that the sun is going to come up as well, and that generally happens as he is now out for at least a month with a hamstring injury. You get Edwin Diaz getting thrown out with the sticky stuff last night, but the Mets win 2 out of 3. The Subway Series is here, so we got some baseball stuff going on, plenty more going on in the world of sports as well. But, man, when I sat here and told you that people like BT were saying, I'm taking the L on Giancarlo Stanton, I thought he'd never stay healthy. He's guy, I thought he was done. And I said, wait a second. We got a long way to go. And well, I was right. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, I don't know what we bet, Gio, but I have
I'll give Al 20.
Al, I got 20
I got
for you.
you. Come on.
It's all right. Just
Take it.
No, it's no money involved.
No. Listen,
No, I
just
don't get
take
involved. I don't get involved in the money.
I know
Okay.
what G's talking about with the mentions on X and everything that was coming our way because I also had the same thing.
I had to put out a post because who had hamstring? It was like everybody asking.
I honestly thought one of you guys died. I honestly did. I mean, with the amount of mentions that when I opened the phone after playing around the golf, I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, it's unfortunate for him, and he is. I was reading yesterday because I wanted to look and see how many games he's missed in his Yankee career, and I think we all kind of know that since he has signed his contract, and this is including the COVID year and everything else. He's been available for 55% of the games that he could have played. 55%. And this goes back to my point about signing guys, long-term into their mid-30s. And he is like he is defendant number one because no matter how much it doesn't even look like he's running.
Yeah, I know, which is amazing.
And
so this was part of him staying healthy deal was he's going to be jogging around the bases, and he still pulled a hamstring.
And by the way, all he was doing it. He played DH 5 games in a row. And it's unfortunate that this happens to him. And I'm not saying he's not faking it. He really does get hurt. And these are sometimes the problems that you're dealing with larger athletes, especially when they get older. And I can't impress enough upon the general managers around here. Stop signing guys to long-term contracts when they get into their mid-30s. It's mind-numbing.
Is that a message to David Stearns on Pete Alonso this morning?
It's a message on everybody. Although Pete seems to be when he gets hurt, he gets hit with a baseball or something like that.
Sure,
he doesn't have the soft tissue issues that Giancarlo Stanton have, but it is serious. I mean, and he was having a really solid bounce back year, and now all of a sudden this happens. And one thing that you've always pointed out, it's not just the next 4 weeks that he's going to miss. How long is it going to take him to get going when he comes back?
Usually about a month. At least 3 weeks, usually about a month. His timing is off. He's waving at those sliders that are down and away. He gets blown by fastballs every single at-bat. So it usually takes about 3 weeks to get going again.
So basically, you lose this guy for 7 to 8 weeks then. Because even if he's in uniform, and maybe he'll be a presence, of course, in a lineup, but it is a thing that I feel like we're at this juncture every year, somewhere along the line, and this is why we made the bet that we made, because it's inherently obvious to all of us that he just cannot play 150 games. He just can't do it.
Without pulling a muscle, and right, he can't do it, period, but it's generally the soft tissue injuries, and some of the other stuff, reaction that I was getting over the weekend was, you jinxed it or you wanted this to happen. No, I didn't. And by the way, jinxing something is if you say, like, man, Giancarlo Stanton, he's going to stay healthy the entire year, and then he gets hurt.
That's BT. He changed the 100%
Right,
then.
What I was saying was the opposite of it. And by the way, not that I want the guy to get hurt. Of course I don't want the guy to get hurt. My whole point was just that how could we take 2.5 months of a regular season of him staying healthy and just assume that he was good because we were told that he changed his offseason routine and this and that, and he's doing this different and doing that different. Okay, fine. Prove it to me that you can get through an entire season without pulling a muscle before I believe that you can. And he couldn't. So just another one of these things that Brian Cashman has dealt with for his entire tenure is Giancarlo Stanton. And now they go out and they get J.D. Davis. They've got to hope that Juan Soto breaks out of it here as he has been in a slump. But they've lost 7 out of their last 10. And now they've got some injuries mounting up, and this is one of those bumps in the road where I think eventually they'll be okay. They'll make it to the playoffs, but they certainly aren't Teflon like we thought they were maybe a week or two ago.
It's a long season. Every team goes through this. The Mets went through this twice already.
Yeah.
With losing streaks and extended losing streaks, and they're battling like hell to get back to 500, and they're 2 games under 500.
Isn't it amazing, though, how well they've played? They're the best record in June. They're still not back to 500.
Yeah, that's how bad.
That's
how bad they played in May.
To climb out of it.
Yeah, but that's how bad they played in May. But for them, it's just about winning series. And for the Yankees, they are losing series. I mean, they are losing series. 4 out of the last 5, I believe. I believe it's 4 out of the last 5 or 3 out of the last 4. But it's amazing because they had their full complement of lineup.
Yeah.
Until yesterday.
That's right. And
Except with the exception for Rizzo. Rizzo was gone, but LeMahieu was coming back. So that was I thought that was a wash. And now they bring in J.D. Davis because they have to get somebody that is a legitimate Major League Baseball player, and maybe he catches a little fire for the Yankees for the next 3 to 4 weeks, and they'll see what happens there. But they're getting Garrett Cole back. I mean, I fully expect Luis Gil to have a bounce back start, his next start. Nestor Cortez was good yesterday. I mean, they just couldn't hit yesterday.
Yeah, and then that's sort of going to be the issue
but how
now.
do you not hit with Soto and Judge in a line?
Well, because Soto's not hitting. That's why.
Yeah, but this is supposed to be the most lethal combo since who? Was it?
Yeah. Garrick and Ruth, right? Yeah.
Yeah, did Garrick and Ruth go through weeks like this?
No, pulling hamstrings, and no, absolutely not. I heard CeeLo was going through it this morning, talking about how many games that Babe Ruth played, and just like season after season after season. And this is something we've talked about for so long. You get these guys that are Adonises and look perfect that get hurt more than the out of shape looking guys of the 20s and 30s, and it's just remarkable how it works that way.
I just have to say, I don't know if he got hurt rounding third base or he got hurt, running to second. I don't know where he got hurt on this play. But, I mean, my God, I've never seen anything like it. It's one thing if he's trying to leg out, a ground out to first base, and it's in the 8th inning and they need a guy on base and he's running his ass off and he pulls a hamstring. I could understand that. But
have you seen him run his ass off in the last year and a half?
No, they told him not to.
Right, I know. That's the thing.
The amazing thing to me is like he is barely running. He is barely running. And I don't know if he heard it somewhere else and now this just tweaked it. I mean, it is sad
and look at this
watching.
guy. I mean, this guy could not look like he's in better shape than he is. He spent, as we've been told, because he was healthy for the first couple of months, an entire offseason doing things to avoid this exact thing that happened to him. His entire offseason was geared towards not pulling muscles. He wasn't going to do as much weight training. He was changing all of the things that he was doing. Everything during the season, not running as hard. He is jogging, and he's still not going to be out a week or 10 days, a month with a hamstring injury.
So it's his left hamstring, right?
I think so, yes.
So that is the foot that he stepped on third base with.
Okay, you think that's what did it?
There was a weird, if they can rerun that and re-rack that, as
re-rack
they say.
it.
Re-rack it there, Stephen Waldron. Watch this. Watch his inside leg. See, he takes a little quick step there, and then it's a weird step.
I mean, I'm sorry.
See? And then that's how he hurt himself.
I mean, listen, in my defense,
yes,
when I busted my hamstring up in that first ever game against at Fort Hamilton.
Yeah, you were trying to
I
run
was
out.
running as hard as I possibly could.
You were trying to impress me.
I was running as fast as I could,
You
and I pulled my hamstring. Unlike this, where he's just jogging and it happens to him. But it's not like the Yankees haven't been here before, and it's just it's a shame more so this year than ever because when you had Stanton hitting in the way that he was, Judge having the season he was having after April, and Soto in there, they were unbeatable, and now you've got Juan Soto after this forearm scare, basically, having the worst stretch of the season, and Giancarlo Stanton's going to be out for a month and then take another month to get hot again. So they're going to have to deal with it. It's adversity for everybody, but they still have a really, really good team, and they're going to have to. It's perfect time for Garrett Cole to come back and be great for them, and have that boost of the Cy Young Award winner back in your rotation.
I mean, the last series they won was against Kansas City, where they took 3 out of 4 from them.
Yep.
And then they lost 2 out of 3 to Boston, 2 out of 3 to Baltimore, and 2 out of 3 to the Braves.
And they're still in first, right? They're still ahead of the Orioles.
Yeah, but which is amazing because the Orioles are slipping a little bit too because maybe some of their injuries are catching up to them. And now comes the vaunted New York Met offense.
Right on.
Here we go, baby.
On Tuesday, off day today.
On Tuesday and Wednesday, baby.
Tuesday and Wednesday. That's right. The New York Mets, who I tell you, when they hit, they look like a team that's fun. I mean, there are you cannot have 2 more different baseball teams than what they were offensively and what they are now, where you wanted nothing to do with watching them strike out and just have the miserable games that they had, to now where they could put up 15 at any game.
Look, it's J.D. Martinez and Francisco Alvarez have ignited the team, and everybody else is benefiting from it from the Mets' perspective. But I will say, for the Yankees, going into this series against the Mets, they got Garrett Cole going and Luis Gil. That's who they got going. And we got Peterson versus Cole, and then Manaea versus Gil.
Yeah, on paper, not great for the Mets.
But if you're the Yankees and you have those 2 pitchers going and Luis Gil needs to have a bounce-back game, what better team to do it against than the New York Mets?
That is true. Now, I mean, we've talked about the Subway Series for years and years and years now. Was it 1997 was the first iteration of it, and the Dave Malicki game and the dominance that the Yankees have had over the Mets in this series for all these years. And it's fun for the fans. Ultimately, it doesn't mean much in the standings because there's just going to be 2 of these games. There's going to be a few later on in the season, but it's just kind of where these 2 teams are right now. I mean, I think no matter who the opponent was for the Yankees coming up in these next couple of games, it would have been important. But, of course, it always adds that extra sizzle because it's the Mets. But, it's a trash-talking situation.
Well, I mean, if the Mets win, they get back to 500 if they sweep them.
If they win both games, but...
Why would listen, they're playing great baseball right now.
Why wouldn't they beat them 2 in a row?
Why not?
Well, how long have you been watching this team?
Well, have you seen how poorly the Yankees have played and hit in the last 3 series? Against good teams?
I know. What are the Mets exactly? Are they a good team or are they a bad team?
I
don't know.
They're like they were saying last night on ESPN, they're like right there with everybody else. And we got, 1,000 games to go. I mean, this is going to be... Whoever gets hot after the trade deadline will be the teams that make it to the playoffs. And then you never know. You could get an Arizona situation. You can get a Philadelphia situation. You can get anything can happen. And now it's like we were talking about Giancarlo Stanton at the beginning of the year. We know he's going down. The question is when and for how long, and then how long is it going to take him to get his timing back?
Yeah. And I saw Francisco Lindor was on with your guy Scott Van Pelt after Sunday Night Baseball last night, and he came out right and said, Francisco Lindor, that when he was asked about the optimism of this group right now, so he wasn't asked a direct question about the trade deadline. Lindor brought it up. He goes, we're just going to have to keep fighting, 27 outs, and then when we get to that point, management's going to have to decide whether or not to add or subtract. So
he's not stupid.
I know he's not stupid, but you don't normally hear that this far ahead of the trade deadline.
Kind of tells me or gives me a little peek into that team-only meeting that they had, and since that team-only meeting, how well they have played.
Yeah.
And I think maybe some of those things were discussed in that team-only meeting, which I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, hey, guys, if you want to stay here, we got to start winning. If you don't want to stay here, you want to leave here, then, just keep losing because ultimately that will force management's hands to trade us. I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the messaging or at least part of the conversation that the team had together. I can only go by other team meetings that I have had for different reasons. And some guys, really take it to heart what is said in those meetings. And other guys just one ear out the other and just move on. But it seems like, especially after J.D. Martinez said it was one of the best, if not the best, team meeting that he's ever been a part of because every team goes through it, it certainly has had effect on the team.
Yeah, I found it interesting that I know that Francisco Lindor understands. He's been around baseball. He's a very, very sharp guy. But I just, sitting here at the June 23rd last night when he said it, it just shows you that it's on their mind.
And it makes
this early.
Right, and it makes me think that I just think I don't ever want to get complacent around here.
Yeah, no, never.
I don't ever.
Complacency is the devil.
That is right. It is everything that's wrong with losing.
Yeah, losers.
So I think I'm going to call a team meeting after the show today.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Today's not a good day for me.
I don't give a damn.
And Jerry isn't here.
Yeah, Jerry's not here.
How about
either.
tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow's a good day for it.
Tomorrow, well, I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
Oh, well, tough.
I want to
We'll have a team meeting without you.
I am having a
Wednesday?
team
Wednesday
meeting.
team
meeting.
All right, Wednesday team meeting.
I want you guys to mark it down. Put it on your calendar.
Got it.
All right.
Team meeting, and we're going to get into it.
We're going to get into it?
Oh, we're going to get into it.
What are we getting into exactly?
I don't know, but whatever happens, whatever comes out of my mouth, you guys can react to it.
Okay.
All right. So Al, Jerry have to do the postgame podcast.
No, we're going to do it. We're going to do it before that.
No. And then Al has to leave by 10:42. So you got about 4 minutes.
I only need 4 minutes. Believe me.
Excellent.
That's all I need.
All right. I just put it in my Google
Al,
Calendar.
Get ready for a one-eyed conversation between me and you.
Okay, you got it.
Team meeting. You going to toss a desk around or throw a chair like Brody Van Wagenen?
You know what a one-eyed conversation is, right?
No.
Where you get so close to the person that you're talking to, you can only see out of one eye.
Oh, okay. Man, I feel like you've had a couple of those in your career, huh?
I have had, yes.
In the face. In your face. All right, Boomer and
I
Gio.
had one on the sideline of a Jet game.
With Rich Kotite?
Yes, I did. He was screaming at me, and I was screaming at him, and we were smiling because we knew the cameras were on us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.